Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the FCS Football Channel. And today we have huge news, and that is that Ole Gunnar Solskjær has officially been sacked as Manchester United manager. Obviously, this has been expected for a while. Obviously, the latest result was obviously that 4-1 smashing by Watford, and as Erling Haaland says in the chat there, it's finally over. Now, this is what Manchester United have tweeted in response to his sacking. Manchester United can confirm that Ole Gunnar Solskjær has left his role as Manchester United manager. Thank you for everything, Ole. If we go over to the club website, we can have a little look at the statement that has been put out. We want that one. So this is what the club has said. So, Manchester United announces that Ole Gunnar Solskjær has left his role as Manchester United manager. Ole will always be a legend at Manchester United, and it is with regret that we have reached this difficult decision. While the past few weeks have been disappointing, they should not obscure the work he has done over the last 3 years to rebound the foundations for long-term success. Ole leaves with our sincerest thanks for his tireless work as manager and our very best wishes for the future. His place in the club's history will always be secure, not just for his story as a player, but as a great man and a manager who gave us many great moments. He will forever be welcomed back at Old Trafford as part of the Manchester United family. Should never have been done after Leipzig last year, but nevertheless we move. Brother, the pain is over. And yeah, I mean, like I said, there has been times where, well, especially this season, where it's been clear that he needed to go. And for me, I think he deserves a little bit more respect than he gets for the job he has done. While there's no doubt he had to be sacked, that he has done well in some aspects of his job. And I think it is important that we remember that. If we think back to where we were under Mourinho when he came in, we were shocking, weren't we? We were seeing players like we had Fellaini starting pretty much every week. Pogba, while he looked like he's going to leave now, he looked like he was going to leave, and he was sat on the bench every week. Rashford, Martial, their progression was stunted. We were playing awful, football. The whole place was just shocking, wasn't it? But he's rebuilt us, and you look at the team that I was just going through. So we had, what was it? De Gea and goal, Valencia, Jones, Chris Smalling, and Ashley Young, Fellaini, Pogba, and Herrera or Matic. Then we had Sanchez, not Mkhitaryan in the end. Sanchez, sometimes Mata, sometimes Rashford or Martial, sometimes Lingard, and then Lukaku. That squad, none of us ever believed, that squad, that can compete for titles. Look at our squad now. De Gea and goal still. Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, and Luke Shaw. Certainly is good enough to be competing for titles. Midfield, maybe, not so much. You look at Pogba, Bruno, but then we don't really have that natural defensive midfielder alongside them. So we've got players like Donny van der Beek, who obviously came on against Watford and showed how good he is and showed how criminal it has been that he hasn't been playing more games. Then we've got Rashford, we've got Jadon Sancho, we've got Lingard, we've got, like I said, Bruno Fernandes. And then up top, Martial, Greenwood, Cavani, Cristiano Ronaldo. That is now a squad that can, and we expect to be competing for Premier League titles. And Ole Gunnar Solskjær does deserve credit for taking us and doing that transition. But now it is the right time for a top manager to come in and really get us going. He probably is a nice guy, but so is Mourinho. But I don't think Mourinho is a nice guy. But so is Mourinho. But what makes me angry was the amount of protection he was granting from the media and the club. I agree. There was no. he was massively protected because his mates work in the media. Roy Keane works in the media. Gary Neville works in the media. I mean, they're all his mates, aren't they? And that was always going to be the big issue with, and will always be a big issue with appointing club legends. The media will always try. If you've got mates in the media, they will always protect you. Look at when Frank Lampard got sacked. Rightly so. Despite the amazing job Thomas Tuchel has done since coming in, I still see people, former Chelsea people, players or fans saying Frank Lampard shouldn't have been sacked. So it's always going to happen with signing ex-legends because no one wants to demand their mate to get sacked. We got one last bit of the statement from Manchester United, and that is that Michael Carrick will now take charge of the team for forthcoming games, while the club looks to appoint an interim manager for the end of the season. So that's I think that end bit is quite important. So that means that we won't look to sign an official long-term manager this summer. Well, until next summer. So we're already writing off the season, which I think is kind of what we have to do because I think the season's already over. And second of all, it means we're not going to be looking at, the manager we want isn't available till the summer. So that means Zidane's gone. Zidane's off the table because Zidane is more than capable of becoming manager now. Unless you make Zidane, because we know Zidane wants the national team job, doesn't he? He wants the French job. He ain't going to get that until at least probably this summer. Well, until after Qatar World Cup, is he? So maybe, just maybe, you get Zidane as the interim. Be like, look, I know you don't want to stay here long term. We know you want to go become the French team manager. So you come here to the end of the season, do what you can with us. If you want to stay on longer, then sure, we're going to take you, Zinedine. But at the same time, if you then want to leave at the end of the season, that's absolutely fine, like we expect you to. And then you can wait until January next year, become the French manager if Didier Deschamps gets sacked. And then we can go get, in my opinion, I would want Erik ten Hag. But we can get Pochettino potentially. I mean, I don't want Brendan Rodgers, but Brendan Rodgers if that's who we decide to go with. So, Well, look, Zidane's not going to become the permanent manager, and that's clear by this statement, in my opinion. We could still potentially get him as an interim. It's just whether A, Zidane would accept that, and B, Manchester United are smart enough to try and do that. But look, I think Michael Carrick becoming the manager for the forthcoming game, I think it's shocking. You look at what has happened since Michael Carrick has stepped into that coaching system and become the assistant managers. It's all just gone downhill. He came in for Mourinho's last season. We were shocking. Then, obviously, he's been there ever since. And we've never played amazing football. So, look, while I hope Michael Carrick does a good job, I very much doubt it. Now, we do have some statements from, just some statements or news about the appointment that we'll look at now. So this is just from Laurie Whitwell, who is a athletic reporter, or a reporter for the Athletic, saying Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan will remain at Manchester United to assist Michael Carrick. Shocking. Look, our main gripe with Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjær's reign, let me get my water, has been the level of coaching and how we're not good enough we're not a well enough coached team. Michael Carrick, Mike Phelan and Kieran McKenna are the coaches alongside Eric Ramsey. They are the coaches. Ole Gunnar Solskjær weren't a coach. So we're keeping the same coaching staff that has failed, we're keeping them along. Now, whether this is just one Michael Carrick assistant manager and then they'll all go, or some of them will go afterwards, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? But if these coaches are staying on when we get a new manager, shocking. Because they are just as big of a problem for this club as Ole Gunnar Solskjær is. What was, I should say. They're not good enough. They're just ex-players or mates or have affiliations with the club or friends with people at the club. And they're not the top coaches that you see around world football. They're not the type of coaches Spurs brought in this summer alongside Antonio Conte. They're not the coaches Pep Guardiola had. Yes, you have a novice here and there, like the man I just mentioned, Mikel Arteta. He was a novice alongside Pep Guardiola. But when you're such a great mind like Pep Guardiola, you can kind of have that. Plus, you saw people like Arsene Wenger tout him to be a great manager as well. These are McKenna and Mike Phelan and Michael Carrick aren't that. Michael Carrick, ex-player, has done nothing really since retiring. McKenna, did anyone know about him before he became a coach at United? Mike Phelan failed as a manager at Hull and in Australia. They shouldn't be here still. This is what Gary Neville had to say about Ollie sacking. Thank you, Ollie. You did us proud. The last 2 months were tough, but before that, you restored some soul into the club. And look, like I said, agreed, problem isn't solved. And no, but I can kind of see why. Like I said, I can see why Ole Gunnar Solskjær, while Ole Gunnar Solskjær is gone, why these coaching staff has while the first team, while the coaching staff is still here, because look, the people in charge of this club aren't footballing people, are they? We know that. They don't know good coaches. They don't know good coaches if it smacked them around the face. So to sack all of them while we don't have a proper manager is always going to be a big issue for them. So to keep them along to keep a coaching staff that has ultimately failed but has worked together is a smart idea until we get a proper interim manager who then can come in and be like, right, I'm here. I know who the coaching staff we need to take this club back to the top. We want to get rid of McKenna, get rid of Phelan, get rid of whoever. Get me this man, and we'll go. And that is important. And I think that's what needs to happen when we get this interim manager. But at the moment, I can see why they haven't been sacked. He deserves all the respect. However, the coaching staff also should have gone. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're saying. And like I said before, Ole Gunnar Solskjær does deserve respect. He will always be a legend as a player. Whatever you think about Ole as a manager is irrelevant. He has been sacked, but he does deserve respect. He's taken us from what was a horrific situation under Mourinho come to the end of that tenure. And he's taken us from having a squad that weren't good enough, none of us truly believed in, to now with a side that we do believe in. We do believe can win Premier League titles, League Cups, FA Cups, Champions Leagues even. It's all about getting the right people in charge of this club now. Not former players. I'm fed up of former players, but proper established managers that, look, if they so happen to have played for the club, for example, I would want Laurent Blanc as our interim manager because he's done it at the high level, like at PSG, and would probably happily do it as an interim job. Not giving it the job permanently, but just as an interim. He just so happened used to play for Man United. That doesn't come into effect. Ole Gunnar Solskjær got the job purely because he was a former Manchester United player. Same reason I wouldn't want Wayne Rooney. Because he would only get the job because he is a former Manchester United player, not because he's good enough. And that's the type of manager I would want. If Zidane formerly used to play for Manchester United, theoretically, I would still want him because I don't want him because he used to play for United, but because he is a quality manager. Aston Villa single-handedly sacked Ole with their humiliation, and then with their 1-0 demolition of over United. I can't read this morning. Man United should have done. Tottenham sacked Nuno and the coaching staff. United should have done the same. Yeah. The only thing I would say about that is they pretty much had Antonio Conte sorted, didn't they? So it was a straightforward. We have a game on Tuesday. So we have 2 days, really, 2 or 3 days to get a new manager in and get the coaching staff in. That'd be quite hard to get all done. Whereas Tottenham had 3 or 4 days, 4 or 5 days, sorry. Plus they had the obvious appointment in Antonio Conte already there. They had already discussed with him in the summer, so there was already that manager there that would take over for long term. Where we don't have that. We potentially we potentially might not have an interim manager until next week. Only an incompetent board would not be able to find a manager within 2 weeks from the Mank game. Any good manager will be rubbing their hands together with the proposition of managing a £200 million squad. I agree, but look, like I said, I think this statement here proves that we're going to get an interim, aren't we? We're not looking to get a manager long term now. So to find a good manager like Spurs did with Conte isn't as hard, especially when they're a free agent, as trying to find a manager that will only take over for the rest of the season. Like I said, I would approach Zidane with a possibility and say, look, I know you want to be a French manager, but come here for the year. Leave in the summer if you want. If you don't want to stay here after the summer, you can leave. And wish you the best wishes. You can take this squad full of players you have wanted at one time or another, or worked with. Varane he's worked with. Ronaldo he's obviously worked with. He's wanted to work with Paul Pogba. Get them all playing for the year. And then in the summer, as Plebber said, get Erik ten Hag or a manager of his level. Ten Hag, like I said, would be my preference, and obviously would be Plebs. And then we can push on, and we can then start winning titles potentially. But the hard point is trying to get an interim or a caretaker manager that will do a good job and is the right fit for this squad. Because you don't want to get an interim manager that will want to pay a 3-4-3 when our team is built for a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. Carrick will play himself in DM over Fred against Villarreal. I fear Michael Carrick becoming our interim manager because he's the same as Ole. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjær and I can't speak. I'm going to say McKenna and Carrick in one. He's the same as Carrick, isn't he? He's gonna believe Scott McTominay is this unbelievable defensive midfielder when he's not. So I don't see much change. I really don't see much change, if any change, between Ole Gunnar Solskjær and Michael Carrick. And while Ole Gunnar Solskjær certainly had to go, it's bizarre to me that we sack Ole Gunnar Solskjær and we don't have a replacement lined up for him, despite the fact we lost 5-0 to Liverpool. We lost 2-0 to Man City, and they were in 5th gear the entire game. We had a 2-week international break, and we haven't done anything to line up a manager for when the inevitable did happen, and that we had to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjær. Because, like I said, it's the same people. When Mourinho got sacked, we brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjær, someone new, someone different, who hadn't been around the squad. So that does bring the bounce. Bringing Carrick in doesn't. And Villarreal is a huge game. I think it's a big risk not to have a manager lined up to take charge. And I think it shows the incompetence from this board that we don't have a manager lined up to take over. He knows how to bring out the most in players like McFred and Maguire. Well, Ten Hag would probably just get rid of McFred. Ronaldo's interim player manager. Honestly, I would take Phil Jones as manager over Carrick. At least he is an Ollie clone. Well, that's what I mean. They're Ole Gunnar Solskjær and Carrick. It's going to be the same. Maybe we'll see slightly different ideas from Carrick, but I doubt that really. So this came out today. Obviously, we spoke about McTominay in the not in the preview, in the watch along yesterday, and about how he was supposedly injured. And, well, this just confirms it. McTominay was not fit yesterday, gave away a penalty, was booked, and then substituted at half-time. Another rusty player rushed back by Solskjær. That had dire consequences. And look, I've said many a times, more focus on how he used to do it with Rashford all the time, and that him rushing back players all the time will come back to bite him in the arse. And it did. And, look, you can't. Well, I do feel sorry for Solskjær, because unlike a Mourinho, who really, let's be honest, didn't care about Manchester United. Mourinho was here because we paid him a lot of money. I genuinely believe if you went to Solskjær before he came in, look, we need a manager, we don't have any money, would you do it for free? Solskjær would have been like, absolutely, because it was his dream job. And that's why, in a way, I'm sad that it didn't work out with Solskjær. Yes, at times he did a good job, and overall, this club is in a much better position now than it was when he took over. It is sad that he had to go, and that he wasn't good enough, because he did care for the club. He always wanted and tried his best for the club, and always looked to put the club first. And it's unfortunate that it didn't work out. According to Sky Sports, Cristiano Ronaldo is keen for current Spain boss Luis Enrique to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjær. That's according to Sky Sports once again. According to Samuel Luckhurst, has tweeted or has reported that Manchester United had no plans to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjær after the Liverpool 5-0 loss. Right, let's load that up. There we go. Manchester United had no succession plan in place for Solskjaer's departure and had given no consideration to sacking him prior to the 5-0 home loss to Liverpool. Brendan Rodgers, I fear. I don't want Brendan Rodgers. I don't see how Brendan Rodgers deserves this job. Look at what he's doing with Leicester currently. Not very good. Sky Sports is tier 9 IMO. Sorry, don't worry about the caps. Luis Enrique is good, but I wouldn't want him at United. I would take Luis Enrique. I think he did a good job at Barcelona. He's doing a good job with Spain. Is he the man I would want, preferably? No. He's down the list, to say the least. But I would take him over a lot of the other people being suggested. Leagues coming out about Ollie's crap coaching style now. Ollie always said he didn't do the coaching. Coaches who coach now are in charge. Spin to throw Ollie to the walls. Bored and coaches left behind should be ashamed. That's what Mark Goldbridge has tweeted. Sam Allardyce in to get you out of the relegation form. So this is the next. So according to Odds Checker, this is the next the next permanent manager odds. Obviously the manager to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjær. So Zidane is favourites. Then it's Michael Carrick. Then Brendan Rodgers. Then Erik ten Hag. Then Laurent Blanc. Then Pochettino. Then it's Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger. Both of them to come out of retirement. Look. I'm going to make it very clear right now. I do not want to see Manchester United trying to force Sam Allardyce, Sir Alex Ferguson out of retirement. Let him retire. He did the job that for what, 40 years? Probably a massive overstatement there, but you get what I mean. He's been there and done it. Leave him alone. Let him retire in peace. Marcelo Bielsa, Michael Keane, Scholes, and Eric Cantona. I don't see any of that. Oh, well, I see potentially Zidane, Rodgers and Ten Hag. Like I said, Blanc as an interim, and potentially Pochettino. I can see them. But Scholes can fuck off. Keane can fuck off. Cantona can fuck off. Bielsa can fuck off. Wenger and Ferguson, no. Yeah, like I said, I would take Laurent Blanc as an interim. But like I said, my main, if we're going to try and get an interim, my first choice would be try and get Zidane. Try and persuade Zidane to come here for the year. And because we know, like I said, we know he wants the France job. But just say to him, I know you want the France job, but you ain't going to get, let's be honest here, Zinedine, you're not going to get the job until after the Qatar World Cup. So, just come here till the summer. If you then want to leave after you've managed these great players in Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Raphael Varane, Paul Pogba, then you can leave. But if you want to stay, feel free. That would be my way around it. And then if he doesn't want to stay, then I would go all in on Erik ten Hag. Everyone besides Ollie's still there. We still fucked for the Seville. You mean Villarreal, not Sevilla, and Chelsea game. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the big problem is the coaching staff, not necessarily just Ole Gunnar Solskjær, and they're all here still. So don't expect a big upheaval. Not upheaval, a big turn in form. United have to convince Zidane's wife that Manchester is not a bad city. It's a beautiful place. I'll show him round. Well, this is a chance for Paul Pogba to actually do something for United then, isn't it? Convince him. Convince Zidane that England is the place to be. And the only thing is to hope Carrick make better squad selections and rotation. Yeah, but I genuinely believe not Ole Gunnar Solskjær, Michael Carrick would have had something to do with some of the squad selections and stuff. I don't truly believe it was all just Solskjær making all the decisions. Harry Maguire was seen clubbing in Sheffield last night following United's 4-1 defeat. No comment. Someone did a tweet showing the beautiful sights of Manchester and put a picture of his centre food hall. Wow. I'm not surprised. We need look. Zidane is the manager I would want until the end of the season if we can't get an Erik ten Hag now. Who do I expect us to get? I'm not sure. I don't think we'll stick with it, Carrick and McKenna. I really don't. Well, at least I definitely hope we don't. Could I see us getting someone like a Paul Scholes? Potentially. But again, I hope not. We definitely won't get Rooney. I don't think Rooney would come as an interim. He would want reassurances that it would be a permanent job. And he actually looks fairly happy at Derby. Laurent Blanc, again, I could see whether the ball is confident enough to get that done. I don't know. And then I just fear, apart from that, it's ex-players, isn't it? Maybe, I would even take someone like a Lucien Favre until the end of the season. Just anyone. Like, Lucien Favre, he's not an amazing manager, but I think he'd get this squad playing. I think he would get the best out of players like Jadon Sancho. But look, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Surprise, motherfucker. Get Frank Lampard in. I would happily take Frank Lampard as an interim, thinking about it. If he's out of a job at the moment, give him an interim. Plays young players, plays a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Perfect for this squad of players and group of players. Boom. Hello. Hello. What about coaches outside Europe? No. I want a manager that has European pedigree, has managed top teams or good teams at least in Europe, because I don't know any coaches outside Europe. Well, I mean, for example, I wouldn't want Rafa Benitez, but for example, Rafa Benitez obviously at one point, well, before he came back to Everton, was in China. I would take someone like that who's out of Europe. Like I said, I'm pretty sure Laurent Blanc is currently in Qatar, but I would very happily take Laurent Blanc. So if they're managing outside Europe right now, it's not that big of a deal. But they need to have managed in Europe and for a good team. You guys wouldn't believe it. Ashley Westwood is better than Zidane. I don't even know who that is. No, I don't think so. Who does he manage? Oh, he manages in Egypt. No. No, I wouldn't want him. It comes down to I want the best of the best. And no offense to him, he might be a good manager. For all I know, he might be a good manager. But I want someone who has been at the top for years upon years upon years. Boom. Yeah, he's officially gone. I'm just gonna check to see if there's any last any more updates before we end this. You said we would do a live of Ollie would be sacked. Come on then. Right, we can sort something out for that still. We can. Oh, I have a decent idea which we can do at some point. We can do a little who would we want to replace him as interim and then full term. Everyone besides Ollie's still there. Don't get too excited. Yeah, I mean that's obviously the disappointing part about the news. But like I keep saying, with a game so soon, clearly we don't have anyone lined up. We don't have anyone lined in to come in and replace Solskjaer. So at the moment, I don't. Well, Solskjaer had to be sacked, but it didn't make sense to do it now if we have no one to line up to replace him, because what's the point? What's the point of sacking Solskjaer but keeping the rest of the problem? So while we don't have a replacement lined up, while we don't have someone who will bring their own coaching staff, you might as well just keep Solskjaer, keep the rest of the coaching staff. When you have that manager then lined up, then get rid of Solskjaer, get rid of the coaching staff, and bring in that manager with the new coaches, and then you'd see the bounce. But we haven't done that. We've sacked the manager, we've left the rest of the problem, and we've just now changed the leader of that group to Carrick. Dude, yesterday after Maguire red card, Ollie still gave him his hand. It shows what a wonderful human he is. Seriously, after that game from Maguire. Well, yeah, like I said, Ollie had to go, but let's be honest and let's be real. Ole Gunnar Solskjær has left this club in a much, much better position than he found it. Under Mourinho, there was infighting in the club. It was a toxic place to be in. Now, well, and back then we didn't have a squad that any of us really believed were good enough to win the Premier League title. This summer, we do. And that is thanks to Ollie and the progression from Ollie from that position when he took over to now. He got us in the Champions League 2 years in a row. He's only 2 full seasons at the club. He got his Champions League. He deserves credit for that. He had to go. He weren't good enough, but he deserves credit for that. And whatever you think about him, I think you have to be fair and you have to give credit for that. And the job he did of rebuilding a squad and creating an atmosphere, a lovely and great atmosphere around the club. He had to go. He weren't good enough as a manager. And look, the history books will always remember that. But you have to put a little bit of respect on his name for that. Ole out since Newcastle away 2019, 2 years ago. I've been telling people Ole ain't the man, but people didn't want to see the truth. Hope you all learned the lesson. If we get Gareth Southgate, I'm going to kill myself. Man, Ole learned his ethics from the best. The squad doesn't deserve that. They should be coached under Felix Magath. They don't deserve decency. The Dan Enrique Lopetegui won't work on this stuff. They choose their own. That's what I mean. Blanc will continue with Carrick, Phelan, and McKenna. If we had to pick a what's it called, an interim, my first port of call would be to go to Zidane and say, look, I know you don't want the job full time. I know you want to go manage the Spanish international team, but you're not going to get that until Qatar, after Qatar World Cup, which is next January. So not the January coming up, but next January. That will be all finished. So I would go say, Zidane, come here for the rest of the season. You can then go if you want. If you don't want to go, that's fine, we'll keep you. But if he wants to go in the summer, let him go. And then go get I would want Erik ten Hag. I'd very much take Luis Enrique. Pochettino I'll take if he wants to leave Paris or has been sacked. I mean, if Pochettino gets sacked by PSG, I would just snap him up straight away. What else? Who else was on your list? I wouldn't take Julian Lopetegui, to be honest. I think there's some managers that are good managers, but they can't do it at the very top level. I think we saw that with David Moyes, in a sense that he was he's a good manager, but he's not a manager to manage the very, very top teams. And while Lopetegui did a good job for Spain, he failed realistically at Real Madrid. So I don't truly believe in Lopetegui, but look, he's doing a decent job with Sevilla, isn't he? 4 scapegoated managers, but nothing happened to Woodward even after the Super League fiasco. Not in Phil Jones has this level of juju. Look, but Woodward is meant to be relieving next month, isn't he? Whether he will or not, I don't know. Did I say Spanish national team? I meant French national team. Put that job position on Job Street. I'm applying. Yeah, get it on Indeed. I'll apply for it. Yeah. Right. So, I'll check if there's been any more announcements. By the looks of it, there's been nothing new coming out. So just to re-go over all the what's happened. Ole Gunnar Solskjær has been sacked as Manchester United manager. This is what Manchester United had to say. Solskjær has left his job as Manchester United manager. Ole will always be a legend. I completely agree. He will always be a legend of the club. While he weren't good enough as a manager to get us to where we really wanted to be, what he did as a player will never be forgotten. And that for me, there's always two different things. I wouldn't say I'm a football expert. I'm 19, nearly 20. 29 days. I'm old. I'm getting old. 30 I started watching what was in 2002, but I still know nothing. I mean, I was born a year earlier than that. But yeah, right. Just to sum everything up, what we've gone through. Ole's always going to be a legend. Ole is thanked for his sincerest. Ole leaves with our sincerest thanks for his tireless work as manager. Again, He deserves that for me. Like I said, while he wasn't good enough to take us to where we need to be, he's taken us a lot of the way there, and that he deserves respect for. We were a long way off it beforehand, and he's always welcome back, as I think we can all agree should be. And Michael Carrick is now taking charge while we look for an interim manager. That is where we're going to end today. So obviously the breaking news: Ole Gunnar Solskjær is no longer Manchester United manager. Anyway, if you are excited, if you're happy with the news, or you just have enjoyed the stream, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. I'll be back for the match preview for the Villarreal game. We might have something here and there if anything else comes up. If we do get a manager in to replace Carrick, of course we will go live. I'll get the Sue. There we go. There we go. So yeah, if any more updates come out, of course we will go live as soon as possible. But that is it from me. Thank you all for watching. Sue's in the building, and I'll see you all in the next one in a bit. Peace.